This is Musings and Counsel from London Baker Law with Debbie London Baker.
Let me ask you, why do families need to have an estate plan?
Well, you never know what's going to happen, for one. They need a plan to save their families, the people they love, grief after they pass, whether it's an expected passing or an unexpected passing. Because it's so easy to say, using you and Sophia, you say, my whole family knows that everything I own goes to Sophia. They all know. However, you've never done anything legally to put that. It would be like borrowing money from a family member and not having it in writing that there's a debt, because no who's going to know. So you say everything goes to Sophia, and if Sophia predeceases me, everything goes to these 3 animal shelters or these 3 organizations. Everybody knows it. Everybody in your world knows it, except there's nothing in writing. So what happens is then everything you own is up in a probate situation that you didn't want, just because you didn't want anybody to have to spend money settling your estate. And it's going to take time and money to get it sorted out. And Sophia may or may not get anything, because whoever is legally entitled to those proceeds decide that it's really great that you lived together for 30 years and she was the love of your life and you wanted her to have everything, but they didn't have any legal obligation. So you do it to save grief later. You do it to protect the people you love from possibly being in an argument with other people. Beneficiary designations supersede anything you have in a will. So if you've left something to somebody with a beneficiary designation on a life insurance policy or a payable on death on a bank account, and somebody comes along and says, well, that's my money, it's not your money, because the the financial institution has to pay the beneficiary. And you have the conversations with the attorneys to at least inform you of what might happen if you don't do the plan. And then you go and make a more informed decision. Like somebody yesterday said, she's got 1 child, we're doing a trust, she's outlined all the distribution channels, and there was one thing she said, I'm not going to worry about that now. If it comes up later, we'll handle it. Well, at least we had a conversation about it. So I'm not in the clear so much legally, but my conscience is like, we talked about it, and you decided, which was a reasonable decision, not to do anything now, and we'll talk about it later. But people do estate planning because they love their families enough to not want to leave them in a situation where they even have to talk to an attorney. Had a client who we did her planning last minute. She died. Her daughter called me the day she died and said, what do I need to do? I said, you need to grieve. You just need to grieve. Nothing's going to change in the next 6 months. If I don't hear from you in 6 months, I'll call to see how you are. But we took care of everything you need to take care of. And now, whenever you get a death certificate, you can do whatever you need to do with that. But even that's not important, because nothing's going to change in the next 6 months. And that to me is similar to the life insurance agent who talked to you and said, you really need to get some life insurance on yourself because your income is substantially higher than Sophia, and you know she's going to grieve your loss, but you don't want her style of living to suffer while she's adjusting. And his greatest joy is being in a position to deliver that check to her. So he knows he did his part to save her some grief after you pass. And this estate planning is very similar.
This has been Musings and Counsel from London Baker Law. Learn more at londonbakerlaw.com. Thanks for listening.